headphones. And official Van Halen merchandise is provided by VanHalenStore.com. Now, here's your host from Ontario, Canada, EVH gear artist Eric Broadbent.
Hey everyone, happy Sunday evening to you all. Welcome to EVH Gear TV. I am live once again, enjoying what's left to a hot coffee. Not much left, so I'm going to drink this before everyone starts popping in here. Let's get a little bit more volume in my headphones here as well too. There, I can hear myself a little bit better. This coffee's getting cold by the second. So the other day, I did a demo on the boys' Eastwood Airlines guitar. Yeah, Eastwood Airline 59 3P Deluxe, obviously in white. And I was playing it through my Line 6 Helix. And it sounded great. A lot of people were really appreciating the tone, and they could not believe that the pickups in this thing were single coil. They look like humbuckers, but they're a specially voiced single coil pickup. And I'm not really a single coil guy. I've had many Strats over the years. I've got a couple guitars that still have some single coils in them, but I'm not a single coil lover per se. But that's changed a lot with this guitar. It's really kind of opened up a few doors for tone for me. Just things you can explore that are a little, outside of the traditional norm when it comes to all the Wolfgangs and things like that I have here, and PRSs and things like that as well too. Yamahas, Poison Ivy, my beautiful better half is jumping in. A couple people. I'll say hi to everyone in just a second. But I had a couple people who were saying, hey, could we hear this what it sounds like through a real amplifier? They didn't say, the tube amp or a solid state amp, but anything other than, a processed tone. So sure. So I fired up the 5150 100 watt half stack that you can see behind me, and I'm going to be using all natural channels, the green channel, which is clean, the blue channel, dirty channel, and the red channel, which is lead. And then I'm also going to demonstrate what it sounds like using a distortion pedal on the clean guitar, on the clean channel with this guitar as well too. And I will switch back and forth to some other camera angles so you'll be able to see a little bit better. You'll be able to have this angle here. Okay, that kind of thing. All right, so I'll switch that camera in a little bit. And yeah, there you go. Stan Adams. I think Stan Adams was the one who was the person who first requested that to play it through a tube amp. So that's what we're going to be doing here as well. And I did find out a few more things about the guitar that I did not know about the guitar, and I actually had to go to the website and read a little bit about it so I can actually communicate a bit better with you folks and tell you more about it. So in a moment, I'm going to do just that. I'm going to call up a web browser, and I'm going to go through some of the specs on the guitar and tell you a little bit about it. I didn't even know the scale length of it. I didn't even know what the strings were on it. I figured they might have been 10s, and they are 10s. I was struggling a little bit. I have strong hands, but honestly, I do struggle with 10s. And I have tuned it up to concert pitch now tonight because I'm going to play a couple songs that are tuned to concert pitch. So that I'll be struggling even a little bit more. But hey, not a problem with that. I'm not trying to win an award for Shredfest here. I'm just going to try to give you some tones and let you appreciate that. So before we get into some of the technical details, first of all, thank you everyone for joining. And for some of you that were here on Friday night, thank you for stopping by and watching the show with Jason Becker. That was my first show, and Dave Lopez. It was my first show of the year, and looking forward to many more this year. So thank you very much. So let's go back over the chat quickly here. As I mentioned, my beautiful better half, Poison Ivy. This is nice. I'm starting a little earlier so she can watch because she turns in a little earlier in the evening for rest that she needs. MB215 is first time here in a while, I think. This is funny because I literally was 5 seconds in the video you did yesterday on the guitar. What's up, everyone? So he watched the one with the Line 6 Helix. R2, R3 Locking Nut says, hey, Eric. Insomniac Matt says, I didn't see the original video, but this guitar looks nice. It looks like it would be a very clean sounding guitar. It is, and it can really rock out too. It can really rock out. You'll have to watch the previous one back. I'll try to link them together when they're all done, so you can go back and forth from either one. And and he also is also weird looking. And I'm going to tell you the story too, how this guitar came to fruition here. And this isn't my guitar. This is Junior's. He's getting cooler guitars than me these days. But I'm doing a demo of it as well. So Stan Adams is here as well, saying hello, Eric. Richard Henry, hey buddy, hey Richard, good to see you. Gear from R2. Stan Adams says no pressure. Insomniac says, so as opposed to 9s and E flat, you're using 10s in standard. At least you're not using 12s in standard. Yes, if I was using 12s in standard, I'd probably be missing a couple fingers. So I can't do that. Michael Smith is here as well, saying hello there all. Got another quick sip of what's left of my lukewarm coffee. I'm drinking more coffee these days than anything, and I'm not sure if that's a cause of my headaches. I've got perpetual headaches these days, but I'm drinking a lot of coffee, and I'm liking it. And this is just instant coffee. It's not real coffee. I've got to get some things for the Tassimo here. I have the Tassimo machine here. So another cool thing, see that I always have a kind of a method to my madness. Not only going to give you some facts about this guitar, okay, that we're talking about, I'm going to give you some facts. There's some tie-ins with Eddie Van Halen here. Do you remember back? I think it was, I have a picture. I'm going to show you in a second. Actually, why don't I just show you the picture? Does this picture look familiar to you? That is I believe the 1990. Is that what it says? I can't make out the picture, but the 1990 Guitar World. Eddie's got a few of his guitars, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. I've always called the guitars Tiesco, but I think it might be Tiesco. I don't care how you pronounce it. Tomato, however you want to pronounce it. But that guitar that you're seeing Eddie play there was one of his first guitars he's had for many years. A lot of those were sold like in your department stores back in the day. I'm going to call them Tiesco, but it's probably Tiesco. That guitar is being remanufactured again today by the Eastwood people, and I'm going to show you on their website. You can actually buy the guitar today. So if you're one of these Van Halen collectors and you want to have everything that Eddie has, which is almost impossible to do, you can get that guitar with minus a couple little small variances to it, but we're going to show you that in a second as well too. So let's turn that off for a second. And matter of fact, why don't we go over and have a look at that first? Let's do that before we can get into this guitar. I'm going to do everything in a complete reversed order. So let's turn that off for a second, and let's change the screen. Okay, so let's go to another window here for a second. All right, so there we go. This one, that is the actual guitar there, the Eastwood Spectrum 5 Pro. And actually, it's not a bad price point. 1920 something Canadian. So that's probably like about $300 American. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably around $1,500 if you convert that to American. If you go on Eastwood's website, eastwoodguitars.com, it'll convert to your currency wherever you're at. But just wanted to show you this because you can actually get one of the guitars that Eddie was very fond of for very many years. And as you can see on there, I can't point with my cursor because I've got the cursor turned off, but you'll see it's a series of 3 single coil pickups kind of in a staggered configuration with multiple tonal capabilities and split and phase and all that kind of cool stuff. So if we scroll down a little bit on the website, it tells you. So I'll give you a little bit of history on these guitars too. I don't know a heck of a lot about Eastwood other than they're becoming very, very popular right now. A lot of people are playing them. And they're kind of rebuilds of the old, vintage guitars that we've seen of yesterday. But let's read a little bit of specs on this one here. That would be like Eddie's guitar that I just showed you on that picture. So it says shipping worldwide from USA and Europe warehouses. One of the world's all-time favorite guitars is Tiesco Spectrum 5, iconic vintage guitar. Continued to skyrocket in value. The replica captures the exotic body top contours of the original, as well as the neck contour, fret markers, even the Spectrum 5 body badge. And to top it all off in style, we even replicated control knobs and split square pole pickups and wiring system. So control knobs, that's very cool. That shows you the color. So green is center pair, orange is rear pair, yellow phase, red phase, blue front pair. Again, there's obviously a couple of videos of some people playing them. And there's your specs. So I won't go into like all the specs on there, but that's and if you look at the inlays on the neck, it's exactly the only thing that's different about this one and the one I showed you with Eddie on the guitar cover was he's got more of like the ashtray type cover, and I think his might have had a Bigsby. Let's have a look. Let's go back to that screen for a second and let's turn that on. Okay, so it does. Almost it's like a Bigsby style. I can't enlarge that picture at all, so you guys can use your imagination there. But it's almost identical. It's got the same inlays exactly as well too. So very, very cool. And that one will certainly get you your twang, everything from twang Telecaster, Stratocaster, some blues, all kinds of in-between positions. So a very, very cool guitar. And there's an opportunity for someone to get a Van Halen style guitar that is completely outside of the normal wheelhouse that you would think. So very cool. That's all I wanted to show you on that one. So let's turn that off for a second. And now we're going to go over and we're going to talk a little bit briefly about the one I'm playing here today and going to do a live demo with. And I'll give you the specs on that because I didn't even know all the specs. So let's do that. Let's go back over for a second and let's switch to the other tab. Okay. So here's the Airline 59 3P Deluxe. It comes in a few different colors, which is really cool. So there's your seafoam green. Look at that. That's kind of cool, isn't it? I'm not a real seafoam color guy, but I do like that one. And I want to just see if I can flag over here in the chat where I can... where I left off. Just one second here. Okay, Warren Hughes is jumping in too. I'm going to continue on with the chat here in just a second. I'm going to highlight out Warren. So he says, "10s make my hands hurt." And Warren, you have massive hands too. I have strong hands. I would think that you could muscle a 10 no problem. But I have very strong hands too. I can crush people's hands when I do a handshake, and yet I know I do struggle with 10s and forget about 11s and things like that. So let's go back over to the guitar. The reason why we got this guitar, and I got to take the we out of me out of we, because it's not my guitar, it's Junior's. I got to make sure I make that statement very clear, because Junior is it's his guitar. It's all his. 1 second here. Let's go back to white, because that's what we have here. Eric Jr. is a huge fan of Gorillaz, huge fan, and he's made me a fan of the Gorillaz as well too. It's probably my second favorite band at the moment, next to Van Halen. And it might sound funny, but when you start to peel back some of the layers of their music, there's some really cool things going on there. And I got to go see the Gorillaz with Eric in Toronto, Air Canada Centre. We had a beautiful time. Got to meet Jeff, the guitar player, after the show by accident. Got his autograph and stuff like that. And Jeff plays this exact one, the one that you're seeing there. He plays it on stage. He's got a few Airlines, Eastwood guitars, and I think he's got a blue one. I think Junior would tell me for sure, a different model. But so Eric wanted his Guitar Heroes guitar, and that's his Guitar Hero. Just like we all collect Eddie Van Halen's Wolfgangs and the Frankies, and we make our own and we stripe them and all that kind of cool stuff because we love our Guitar Heroes. There's nothing wrong with following and chasing your dreams of your Guitar Hero, right? So he wanted this one. This came in for him for Christmas, and we're doing a demo. Both of us are going to do a demo, off the air. It's going to be a produced demo on both of our channels for the Eastwood Company. We're looking forward to doing that. But, it's kind of nice in a way doing these things live like this, pretty much unrehearsed, other than just checking to see if I'm in tune. And that's the only rehearsal I've done for this. So let's go down and have a look at some of the specs on the guitar. It's very cool. It's a very eclectic, throwback guitar, but it's got today's technology, which kind of helps a little bit for some shortcomings that it could have had in days gone by. So here again, too, it talks about the airline guitars were made in USA from 1958 to 68 by Valco and sold through Montgomery Ward. Valco also made National and Supro brands. I'm sure you're all familiar with those brands. Today they are played by people like David Bowie. Well, unfortunately, they haven't updated the website. With David Bowie, we don't have him anymore, which is a huge loss to us, but David Bowie did play them. The Cure, Calexico, and White Stripes. Obviously, a lot of people know about the White Stripes, and this is totally Jack White written all over this guitar. Original Rezo glass models now sell between $2,000 and $3,000. What those were back in the day is they were like a dual piece of fiberglass. I'm not sure how hollowed out or whatever they were. But then the rubber, I've tried to show, where's my camera? There we go. All right, so that rubber stripe there was actually what held the two pieces of fiberglass together, and that's how it was joined. Now, it's actually, we'll tell you what the composition is now, which is very, very cool. All right, so artist playing the guitar, Ripley Johnson, and of course, Jeff Wooten from Gorillaz. You got to look him up. He has his own solo project on the side. He does his own music through Jeff Wooten, and he also does Youth of the Apocalypse. They're actually recording a brand new album right now. Muramasa, Joy Burns, Frehat, and PJ Harvey. So some big names playing the guitars. So let's look at the specs. Body is a tone-chambered mahogany body, so very nice tone wood there. Colors, you come in the G-Love signature black and blue, white, and seafoam green. Ours is obviously Junior's. Sorry, I said ours. I don't mean ours. Junior's guitar is white. Pickups are 3 Airline vintage voice, single coil switching as a 5-way vintage switch plate. Controls 3 volume, 3 tone, 1 master volume. So you have, I can try to let's turn off the screen just for a quick second. Go back here. So on the guitar, all volume tone, all those, and then you've got a master volume right back here. So it can really, and here's the big thing. This is when Junior and I are watching all these demos online. We're thinking, are you going to hit your hand on all these knobs? Not once have I even bumped my wrist. And that was a big concern of ours. We thought, are we going to be hitting our arms on this thing? Not in the least. And some of the demos we were watching, we watched this one guy, and he was very aggressively picking the guitar. And if you think about it, you're going to probably hit the knobs. If you don't think about it, you don't even know that they're there. And very seldomly do we here in the house even adjust them at all. We just leave everything wide open. And of course, we'll use the 5-way selector switch, which is a godsend. It sounds beautiful. And I'll go through some tones here in a second and show you what they do sound like. Very, very nice. So let's continue back to that screen. Okay, so we left off at the controls. Now we got the Bigsby tremolo. So it's a roller Bigsby tremolo. And I had a friend the other day say, "Hey, Eric, try to do a dive bomb with it." And no, I'm not. You actually can't dive bomb. At best, you can probably get maybe a full tone, a full step down, I should say, like one note, a whole note, and that's about it. But I mean, with the Bigsby, it's nice just with the subtleties, right? And I even like that with my PRS I have. I've got a kind of a floating trem on my PRS Strat style. They have a very nice bridge on the PRS. And I use it like a Bigsby as well too, just a slight, up and down movement, and I like that a lot. So the Bigsby is very tasteful, and it's the only guitar we have in the house with a Bigsby. Scale length. Oh, so let's go back. So I lost the neck is a bound maple bolt-on rosewood fretboard with block markers, which is very nice and beautiful inlays on there. Scale length is 25 and a half, 648 millimeters. Width of the nut is 1 11/16. Hardware is a vintage Clusen style nickel chrome. Strings are D'Addario 10s. So I thought they were 10s when I was playing them, and sure enough they are. And we are going to drop down to a 9 to 42, and probably throw on the NYXLs. We'll stay with D'Addario by NYXLs. Hardshell case came with it. Beautiful hardshell case. I can't show you that because it's in the other room. And we didn't know which case was going to show up because they had some real vintage tweed, like the kind of a Fender tweed look. It isn't that one. It is a nice black molded, beautiful case, fully lined inside. It's got the Eastwood logo on the outside, so a very nice case. And then unique features, rubber body binding, and the striped pickguard. Let's see if I can scroll down. Is there anything else? Probably nothing else to really point out. There's some nice pictures there as well, too. And there's a lot of reviews, and the reviews are all positive, as you can see as well, too. So all kinds of cool things. Let's go back over to the main camera. And speaking of pickguards, so as we were saying earlier about Junior, this is his Guitar Hero's guitar. That's why he got it. Eastwood was kind enough to send us an extra pickguard. And originally we were going to get the guitar. We're going to ship the guitar from Eastwood over to Jeff Wooten from the Gorillas, and that became a problem. So it was going to come to us. We're going to ship the guitar from here to England. And I started thinking with the boy, I thought, you know what? As cool as that is, there's too many factors that can go wrong with that. Number one, the guitar could get damaged in shipping. Okay, so it could get lost in shipping. The guitar is gone. Now we're out and we're fighting with a courier to get a replacement for a guitar. So let's get an extra pickguard. So we got the pickguard, and the reason for this, Junior's made friends with several of the key players in Gorillas, really good friends, and they're signing the pickguard. So the pickguard that looks like this here, if I can show you, there it is right there, right there. I can never do these things backwards. So the guys, all the guys in the Gorillas, and there's some girls too, are going to be signing that. It's going to come back here, and then we're going to take this pickguard off, put that one on, and then obviously just put this one aside in a case for a spare, whatever. And someone the other day, and I forget who it was, I think it might have been Jamie Trevino, he was giving me suggestions, and a couple other people too, some 3M clear vinyl type stuff that we could put over top to protect the signatures, because Junior was saying, well, maybe I'll just put the pickguard in a frame or something like that. I'm like, no, if we can preserve it, let's put it on the guitar. It'll look great, especially if you're hanging the guitar up on the wall, which he will eventually in his room. He's got guitar hangers up there. But that's what we're going to do with that. So we'll have, it's already at the management. It's been received over by their management over there, and I imagine we'll probably have it signed and back to us within a couple weeks. So we're really looking forward to that. So before I jump over and start actually playing, let's go back and see where I left off over in the chat. And I want to thank everyone for joining in this nice Sunday afternoon. So left off with Warren. R2R3 says, hey, Michael Smith. And Insomniac Matt says, I can't believe I used to use 10 to 52s in standard tuning. I just can't do it. I can't do it. Did Junior get the scratch plate back yet? No. So yeah, Richard's asking about the pickguard. No, hasn't got it back yet. So just mentioned probably about 2 weeks. I'm thinking somewhere in there. The tracking said when we shipped it said about 17 days to get there from our place here in Ontario, Canada, and it got there in about 9 days. So it got there much quicker than we anticipated. Who knows how long it'll take to come back, and then he's got to round up a lot of the players in the band. I think a lot of them are somewhat local, so it shouldn't be too hard that way. And a couple of the members of Gorillas are in the same band and the side project band, so a little easier that way as well too. So thanks for asking, Richard. Michael Smith says, hello there, R2. And Richard Henry says, I use 11 to 54 in standard. Wow, I just can't do that. Hey, yeah, there you go on the scale length. So I mentioned that. And Somnak Matt says, I like 11 to 50 and E flat for rhythm playing. Yeah, you know what? In studio, if I was to go into the studio, into a real studio, not just what I'm doing here at the house, I would probably go a heavier gauge for some nice, for tuning stability and things like that. Then there's no doubt about it. I'd go with a heavier gauge for that. And I even have done that in the past on some Les Pauls and things like that. There's some guitars that were in the studio. Rosa, my old singer from one of my old bands, he was one of our first engineers on a studio project we did, and he had a vintage Les Paul, Les Paul Deluxe 3 pickup deal. It was his guitar, 70s, and it had at least 11s on there, and it was a guitar that we used for a bulk of the rhythm on the record. It just really, really sang and stayed in tune nice. And there you go. And R2 says, I have that magazine. I have it too over in my collection. I have anything that has Eddie Van Halen on the cover. I pretty much have in a lot of cases. Sometimes I have duplicates or triplicates depending on, if one got really messed up and I wanted to have a second one, or I would always try to trade somebody something to get another copy that was maybe a little bit better than the one I had and things like that. Chris Jones says, I see Junior's flea bass hanging on behind you. He can't work on his bass lines with it hanging up back there. Oh, Chris, it does not stay on the wall very long. As you notice, you can probably see, let me see, you can see a strap hanging from the bottom of it. That means he's playing it a lot. Junior is a real inspiration to me. He's playing every day, and he doesn't just sit with one instrument. He goes up, gets on the keyboard upstairs. He's got a little studio upstairs as well too. That's his keyboard room. And he's up there playing. He's learning some really, really cool things. Comes down here, gets on the bass, plays that, puts the bass down, gets a guitar. Just amazing. Next year, I want to have a nice full, one of the deluxe Roland the electronic kits, which will benefit us both. But the kid is just a genius. He's very inspiring to me, and I cannot stop being around him when it comes to music and other fun stuff with him as well too. He's up playing. He'd be on the show right now. I'm sure he might tune in for a little bit, but he's playing some games with his friends online and having fun. And anytime you hear him up there laughing and giggling, it's music to parents' ears. Your kid's happy and having fun. But he'll be giving up on that soon and coming down and play some music after the show. I guarantee you that. So Blackie DH is here saying, "Hey y'all, what's up?" Let me see. ET5150. Yes, didn't EVH have a Tesco Del Rey? He did. And if you're just tuning in now, I'll pop on that picture again. Boom, there you go. That's it. We were just showing that. And guys, tell me, how would you pronounce it? I've always said Tiesco. I'm sure it's actually not Tiesco, but since I've been a kid, that's what I call the guitars. Is it Tiesco? Tiesco? I'm just curious what the proper pronunciation is. I'm sure I'll forget it anyways. It's like me when I say Futone or F-U-tone. It's like there's no real right or wrong necessarily, but whatever, right? Let me see here. Mark Taylor's here. He says, I'd be hitting those knobs above the pickups with my picking hand. I don't think you will. Watch me in a second when I start playing, and I'll have a different camera above here. If you don't think about it, you don't hit them. If you focus on it, you're gonna be changing your picking. And right now, I'm kind of making myself a liar. I'm holding my hand on the bridge. Let's change the camera for a quick second. I'm holding my hand on the bridge like I normally would pick, somewhat, and I am bumping my hand there a little bit. But that's because I'm now focused on not hitting them, and I am. But when you're normally even tremolo picking like this, whatever, you're not going to hit it at all. So they will not get in the way, and that was a big concern of ours. That we're going to be hitting the knobs, and that's not the case. Poison Ivy says, "Hey guys, Mark Taylor, hi Poison, Blackie DH, hi, hey Ivy." MB says, "I don't know. I play Ernie Ball Cobalt and M Steels and Standard, and I'm super skinny. Never had a problem." Yeah, it's different for every person, right? And I've just been a 9 guy forever. Even back in the day when I had some of my Ibanez guitars like the RG750, and I had a really beautiful gem, original series gem, which I'd give anything to have still. The dark one with the flower pattern and the vine, whatever, on the neck. I forget them, the Gem 77, whatever. I used to play 9s on that thing, believe it or not. But I'd bust them like crazy. Let me see here. Joshua Kraft is here saying, "Hey everyone, nice to see you, Joshua." Jareth Beekter is here as well too. And what else have I missed? I scrolled a little too fast. And R2 says, Jareth Beekter, I'm not sure if I said that. Cool guitar. I had that magazine back in 1990. Did not look right to me, but now it looks pretty cool. Yeah, see, I think maybe we're all getting a little older. And as we get a little older, we're like, oh, that's cool, right? Because we're going back and we're discovering things that, were different back then. Back then, all we wanted was a humbucker and a Floyd Rose, and we were golden. And now we're kind of growing up and maturing a little bit. We want something a little bit more, diverse a little bit, which is cool. And Poison Ivan saying she's a beaut. So yeah, Stan says it's like $1,200. It seems. Yeah, that sounds probably about right. If it's 15 something Canadian, somewhere in the $1,200 American would be about right. And there you go. So yeah, Warren says I play a lot of legato, so 10s are a no-go, and I can understand that for sure. And speaking of Warren, he's going to be on the show very soon too. I think I've got him the Friday after NAMM. I think Warren he'll comment. I should know offhand. I have it written down here, but he's coming on the show and he'll be able to show us some of his playing as well too. I'm very anxious to, for those of you that don't know Warren's playing, anxious to have him show you some riffs here live on the air. Let me see here. Insomniac Matt says I wouldn't mind getting an inexpensive Ibanez Geo sound gear bass. Yeah, actually that's one of the basses that Junior was going to get just before getting this one. He was going to get one of those Ibanez basses. They make some nice basses for an affordable price, like even $350 Canadian, $250 American, whatever, will get you a good starter bass from Ibanez. How is it spelled? Teisco. So I would think that'd be Teisco, or it could be Tasco. I'm not sure. Let me see here. And Draws Beaker says, I play 12s and standard on my Strat, usually just switch to 9s. It has been a blast. I love the tone and feel. Draws Beaker says, the guitar picks the strings. So true. Blackie DH says, Air, quick question. Your thoughts on the PV Wolfgang Special USA made flat tops? If you're talking about the new ones that they've just released, I try not to comment on those, and I'm going to reserve my judgment on them just because, I'm not really comfortable with it at the moment. I don't. If that's what you're referring to about the new ones, anyways, without Eddie's name on them, I'm not comfortable about it. You definitely won't see one here in the house. I have no desire to go get one because it's not a part of Eddie. It's not now. It's not licensed by him. I know it's the same guitar overall. It probably is exactly the same guitar, and there's some other changes on it too, like split coil and things like that. So I like to reserve my judgment on them, just because I don't think it's cool. But I'm not gonna stop people from buying them. I'm not gonna say they suck because I'd be a hypocrite, right? I'm not gonna say that. I just try to stay away from them. And I have a couple PVs here with Eddie's name on them, and I love them to death. So my black one, as a matter of fact, the black one with the Floyd Rose, the PV Floyd, and the hardtail. I was just playing them both the other night. The boys in here on my computer just watching some videos, and I'm just noodling acoustically, and I was playing both of those guitars. So they're beautiful playing guitars. Where did I leave off here? That was from Blackie DH. Burloff says, it's great having common interests with your kids. It is. I joke a lot of times, and Poison Ivy will probably agree here too, and she actually gives me heck for this sometimes because I'm more like a big brother to him than a dad. And I'm not saying I let him get away with stuff because I'm strict on him too, but I'm flexibly strict, if that's a word. It's just great. I mean, he's those are my two best friends in the whole world. Sandra Lee and Eric Jr., my best friends in the whole world. So we're a very, very close family, but it is great to have the same interests. We like the same music. We like the same video games to a certain point. Some of the things he watches online, I'm not crazy about some of the silly videos he watches, but also on the flip side of that, a lot of the silly stuff he's introduced me to, I do like. So it's great. See, we're talking more about life than guitar. It's kind of one of the things I like about this show is it doesn't always have to be guitar. It can be some just fun stuff as well too. And Zach says, are you going to NAMM 2018? No, not this year. 2019, I plan on having the whole family there. Long story, but a lot of people that know me personally know that we have a health issue here in the family, and we can always get into that another day. But I'm hoping that I can bring the family with me next year instead of, I can't be away from Poison Ivy. Today was a day where I went to get some groceries, some fresh foods and some things for her, and I can't be away from her longer than a couple hours at the very, very best. And I would be in sheer panic mode if I was in another country, even if I was just across the border. I can't be away from her. But next year, I'm going to bring them with us, or with me, so that we'll be together. She might be in a wheelchair on the floor with us through the thing, but that's fine. I almost wish I had a wheelchair at NAMM sometimes. That place is huge. So it'd be nice to have them with me. So in 2019, you'll see Junior there as one of my roving reporters and cameramen, and Poison Ivy will be attending with me too, we hope. Let me see, where did I leave off here as well too? So no older ones from the 90s. Oh, the older ones from the 90s. Okay, gotcha. So there you go. Yes, love them to death. So if you're referring about those, love them to death. Great guitars. Rolls off the tongue better, Tokyo Electric Instrument and Sound Company. There you go. Okay. Is that what it is? Tokyo Electric? Yeah, makes sense. There are times when I put Ernie Ball 8s when I want to get my Billy Gibbons on. They give the Les Pauls a bark that doesn't have 11s. Very, very cool MB. And yeah, Billy Gibbons does that. I remember a couple of people have told me that. I know for sure Mark Kendall from Great White, he's very good friends with Billy, and he had told me that he plays 9s. And he also has extremely, extremely low output pickups. Now, Mark Kendall even has very low output. He gave me this really cool theory. He gave us, as people on the show, fans and myself too, kind of a rundown on his tone, and said that when he wanted to kind of copy after Billy Gibbons a little bit and go with this low output from the guitar and let the amp do all the work, which is a cool theory. Whereas, look at the EVH guitars and a lot of the modern guitars, it's high output coming out of the guitar, then going into gain stages, whether it be pedals or high gain amplifiers and things like that. So it's a neat approach. But Billy does use extremely low gain pickups and uses 8, and it's amazing the tone he gets. You'd never know it. Like, listening to Billy Gibbons, closing your eyes and never seeing the man, I would expect this big burly guy, big massive hands, maybe small hands, but strong hands, and 13 gauge strings, and who, you just don't expect sometimes what is coming out of that guy. Let me see here. That was MB. Insomniac Man says, I wouldn't mind getting a PV 5150 6505 amp. Yeah, they're good amps for sure. I had many of the 5150s over the years, and I do miss them. Someday, if I ever see a real good deal on one, I'll snag one again. I have actually a guy that wants to sell me. I won't tell you the whole story on the combo, and it's a really, really good deal. And I'm gonna probably scoop that right away because there's a real neat, significant story about this combo on the 5150, and it'll be a real conversation piece when I debut it here on the show. So I haven't forgot about that, and he's hanging on to it. Stan Adams says the singles look like humbuckers visually. They do, but I bet it could rock hums also. Yeah, it you have to watch the Line 6 video I did just yesterday or the day before. It really, really sounds like a full-on humbucker. And I'm going to play in a second, so you'll hear it too. So being a massive Music Man fan, this is from Richard. What's the opinion on the EVH Music Man? Been looking for one for a while. Oh, Chad Boston jumped in and just threw me a $5, what do you call that? The super chat. Thank you, Chad. I'm going to come down in just a quick second and read his comment in full. And that's very, very kind of you. Thank you. That'll buy me another coffee, a couple coffees, nice hot coffees. So where was that now? The Music Mans. That was from Richard, I think. Yeah. Now, I've never owned a Music Man. I've played them. I like them a lot. And there's one at the music store where I go all the time. My local music store in town. There's a nice Axis. It's got the Floyd on it and everything as well, too. It's green. Same one as Rob Johnson's. Rob Johnson's got one. Same color as his exactly. I told Rob I'm probably going to scoop it. It's been there for like a year. Now that I've said that, it's probably going to go. But it's a very good price Canadian. And it's just one of those things where I'm just going to have to pick it up because it's screaming my name, and but it needs a setup. It does not play good. And these guys are good techs there. I think they probably figure if someone shows interest in it and they want to buy it, they'll set it up, whatever. But the action's extremely high on it, so I don't play comfortably on that guitar. But that'll probably be one I'll pick up. I do like them. I'd be here again. I'd be a hypocrite if I said they suck. They don't suck. They're great guitars. They're very, very good guitars. And yeah, Zach says Acacia makes some killer guitars, and I've seen those thanks to Robert Baker. He plays some Acacia guitars, and I think he's endorsing them. Very, very good guitars. I don't doubt that whatsoever. Insomniac Matt says Billy Gibbons, one of the guys who gives Zach Wild a run for his money when it comes to pinch harmonics. I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I honestly would rather listen to Billy, and this is no disrespect to Zach, but I'd rather listen to Billy do pinch harmonics than Zach, because Billy will put them in at the time when it's really nice, whereas Zach might do them, a lot. That's Zach's style, I guess, right? So Chad Boston, thank you for the $5 super chat. It says, wish you the very best in your family. We will miss you at NAMM, and I will be rolling around NAMM bad back. Yeah, sometimes if you have some kind of a cart or, that kind of deal. So thank you. That was very kind of you. I'm going to apply that to a couple coffees. I'm going to have a couple hot coffees in your honor, so thank you. And speaking of which, too, I'm not going to say who the person is that sent me this the other day, but it was the day when we got because he asked me to remain anonymous. I was out there shoveling the snow, and we had our big snowstorm, and I was so bummed out because the snow and whatnot. I don't have I'm going to get instead of getting a snowblower, I'm getting a pickup truck with a blade on it. Then I can just, push out the snow out of my driveway. And as I was done, I went down to the post office, got the mail, and there's a card, real nice card from a friend, a Facebook friend, and a big fan of the show, and left a Tim Hortons card, and it was a very large one too, not just like a little kind of card they sometimes get in a stocking or something like that. And he says, here, maybe after the shoveling some snow, it's almost like he was spying on me. You can take your son out for a nice hot coffee and a hot chocolate or something like that. I'm like, wow. And I haven't even used it yet. I'm saving it, for a rainy day or something like that, or a snowy day. Yeah, but that was very, very cool. So the generosity of people is very nice and always appreciated. See, R2's looking for the 6505 plus, and they're as good as the originals. I agree, probably for sure. And Poison Ivy says, thank you, Chad, for the super chat. You deserve more. Thank you, Chad. You're so kind. Chad runs friendlygearfreaks.com and the Line 6 family of groups on Facebook. And you want to talk about some great people to join. Even if you're not a Line 6 fan, if you want to just kind of hang around with some really like-minded guitarists and just talk tone and stuff like that, it's a great place to hang out. Just look them up online for sure. You don't necessarily have to be a member of the the purchasing community of the Line 6, it would be great. There's more you can share there, but you don't have to be. But also, on the flip side of that, friendlygearfreaks.com talks about everything guitar and gear. So, and you will be treated very, very well there. Trust me, or I wouldn't send you there. I would not even send anyone to any group if I didn't believe in it myself. Richard Henry saying hi to Chad. Stan Adams says, I would think you would only get a PV block or old signature. Yeah, I had the block, the EVH block logo, and not a 6505. You couldn't get a HP guitar. I would go with that for sure. I would go with that. And Chad Boston's wishing my better half, Poison, to do well. And I think we're almost down to the bottom of the chat, so I'm going to get into some playing here in a second. And Insomniac Matt says, I have nothing against Zach Wild, but I can't stand his abusive pinch harmonics while he plays. Yeah, Crazy Train, it kind of takes away a little bit, right? And I can get those pinch harmonics myself sometimes, but if I try to do them all the time like Zach does, I just can't do it. I have to, it's one of those things where if I play 5 in a row, try to do 5 pinch harmonics, I'll nail one. I'll get one really, really good, and then the other 4 will suck. So I try not to even do them because, 1 out of 5, the odds aren't too good that you're going to be able to consistently do them. So, and that's just like sweeping. That's why I will never sweep. I can do one little thing, and I won't. And I don't think I've ever done it on the air, and I'm certainly not going to try it on this guitar. But I stick to my strengths, and I kind of talk about some of the other guitar players on the show. I've talked about Ace Frehley and people like that, where we say, they're not the shredders of, like some of these other guys are out there, like your Paul Gilberts and Jason Beckers and, Yngwies and all that kind of stuff. He has a very limited vocabulary, but what he does with it is amazing. And I'm the first person to admit, too, my musical vocabulary is somewhat limited, especially in my older age now, too. So I'm very selective of what I do, and I don't try to do anything I can't do because, you're going to fall flat on your face. Now, I will venture out of my comfort zone sometimes. Today is a perfect example of venturing out of my comfort zone, playing a guitar like this. But I like to try to stick to something that I know I can do okay, and that's what I do. So that being said, let's flip over to another camera here for a second. Bear with me here. Actually, I'll just take another quick sip of this coffee because I know we're below room temperature on this thing now. We're almost in iced coffee zone now. But you know what? I'm addicted to coffee, and I need more of it. Not tasty. Not tasty. Pardon the little lip smacking there. Okay, all right. So let's go to another camera. Okay, so run the overhead cam. And I'm going to shut off my microphone when I start playing for sure, because in the last video I didn't ruin it. I don't like string clack, okay? And I also have my other microphones muted, which you're going to hear in a second. I'll turn them on right now. I've got 2 Rode NT1 microphones, miking both the opposite 412 cabinets back there. The speakers on the 412, and they're panned left and right. I'll turn them on for a sec. So this is what you'll hear minus, I will turn off my vocal mic in a minute. So it's going to sound quite nice. And I'm really glad Stan asked me to do a demo with an amp, because as soon as I fired it up, like, I love my Line 6 Helix to death. It's probably my favorite piece of gear I've gotten in the last decade. But when I fired up the amplifier, the compression that comes out of the amplifier, like, I almost thought I had a compressor on, and I don't even own a compressor. It just really sounded nice, especially with these pickups, probably more so than the humbuckers. It just it's a really reacts beautifully to a tube amplifier. So I'll try to look at the camera if I can. There I am up there. I'm going to go through 3 different channels. I'm going to play the clean channel, and I'm going to show you all the different pickup positions on this guitar. I'm going to go through the dirty channel, the lead channel. I'll try a couple little overdubs using the Boss DD500. So to give you a little bit of a rundown, you can see some of my pedals there. You're not going to get to see all of them because I'm in the way. My big fat belly's in the way. But what I'm going to be using here, let's go back for a quick second to the camera. I'm going to be using the Strymon Big Sky Reverb. Okay, so you're going to be hearing this. And that's on it's a little bit delayed there as well too, but I've got it on a plate setting, which is my favorite setting there. Boss DD500, I'll be using a couple different combinations of that, around a 350 millisecond delay to about almost a 500 millisecond delay, back and forth a little bit from there. I don't think I have the Boss noise suppressor engaged at this moment. I do have the Boss MD500, the modulation kind of workstation. I'm going to probably use a couple patches on that. There's a tremolo, which I just love to death. And I might use my Boss OC3 and kind of show you some, especially with a guitar like this. I'm going to throw in a little bit of fuzz and pop on an octave, and that's going to give some really cool tone as well too. Excuse me. What else do I have? Oh yeah, and also after I'm done showing you the natural distortion between channels 2 and 3 on the 5150, I'm going to pop on the MXR 5150 overdrive and let you hear that as well too, how it takes it through the amplifier as well too. And I just need to, I'm going to open up the iPad here too just for a second, just in case I get an important text messages from my beautiful producer, because I don't have it open on my computer at the moment. I should have that open just in case. Okay, everything is good that way. And then we're going to just experiment a few other things as well too. And I might actually even play, you know, it's really funny too. I was trying to play a tune the other day. I used to play everything off of my, hang on a second. How's this good? My stream is a little weak there. Okay, it was looking weak there for a second. Is there any buffering issues or anything like that? Is everything okay? Just let me down in the chat if everything's okay. Hopefully there is. YouTube was giving me a bit of a signal saying that the connection was poor for a sec. I was trying to play along with the song the other day and couldn't get any audio from my laptop to the mixer. And, you know, my buddy I'm a computer guy, but my buddy says, oh, reboot your Windows 10. I'm like, no, I'm not going to reboot it. It'll take forever. All it was I just had to unplug the USB from my interface, put it back in, and it's, you know, just refound it. So that's all it was. It was something very simple. But let me know if the buffering is okay. Hopefully we're still good. So let's go to another camera. I'm going to show you some pickup things, and hopefully the audio and everything the video is not buffering too bad. Let's have a look what it says over here. All good. Richard Henry says, okay, that's good. All right, perfect. That's all I need to know. All right, so go back, other camera. Okay, so just before I turn off this microphone so it's more silent, I'm going to just play some simple chords, and I'm just going to go between, excuse me, all 5 of the positions like you would like on a traditional 5-way Strat or whatever. Okay, so I'll do that. Alan Speak is saying all good. Okay, so let's turn off my microphone, and I won't speak for a moment. I'm just going to go through each of the 5 positions, the vintage style thing here as well. So here we go. Doesn't that sound nice? No, I'll keep my microphone on just for a second. That's bridge. There's the 2 split. I just love the tone. Okay, middle pickup. Okay, the next 2, neck and middle. And then of course your neck. Pretty sweet, isn't it? I like that a lot. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to play a few chords on the blue channel of the EV8 5153. Gain is probably around the 2 o'clock position, so somewhat gainy, not super gainy. Here again, too, I'm going to turn off the microphone, and I'll just play a few chords with the 5150 on the dirty channel. sings pretty nice. And I'm going to just try to make a note of where I left off here as well, too, so I don't miss anything here. One sec. So yeah, Insomniac Matt was talking about the pinch squeals and stuff. And there we go. So I'll leave off here with MB. He's talking about some EMG pickups. We'll come back to that one. That's a good spot to... actually, Richard Henry and Alan Speak were talking about the audio and video was good. So let's make sure I don't miss these guys. MB says, as someone who plays almost exclusively with EMG pickups, you can get pinch harmonics by accident sometimes. But yeah, Zach goes nuts with them sometimes. Yeah, and that's true. With EMGs, you got such high output that that's probably an aid to getting the squeals. I used to have a PRS Torero that had the Zach Wild set, the 85 and 81, I think it is, and they were pretty easy to squawk with those ones. Tysco. So Mark Taylor is saying he checked out some other videos and they're pronouncing it Tysco. That makes sense, so I'll try to remember that now as well, too. Matt says, I wouldn't mind getting a guitar with EMGs just for something different. Yeah, it's cool. On my one, I'll have to think of the name of the song, but a lot of you people have my music, and I'll tell you there's one song where I use that Torero, and you'll hear those EMGs for a solo. I'll try to recall which one it was. I don't have any physical notes, but I have mental notes, and I'll try to tell you which one it was so you can hear what those pickups sound like. Okay, so Blackie DH is saying sounds good, and everyone's saying the buffering and stuff like that, and Matt says the metal pickup sounds really good. It does, doesn't it? Okay. So I'm going to highlight that there at Blackie DH. We're going to go over now to the red channel, and we're going to see what it can do. And then I'm going to give you some context where I'm going to sample something with my Boss DD500 pedal, and I'll play a little bit of a lead over top. So I'll turn this microphone off. Let's go over to the lead channel. Got some bite, doesn't it? Let's go back to the other camera for a second. And the feedback was there, but I was making it feedback. I was letting it feedback. Listen to that. I love that. Okay. Now, I'm muting my strings. I'm not getting any feedback, but watch this. I love it. This is a fun guitar. And this is going to make, I have to ask the boy to play it every time, but it is a guitar that's going to make me a better guitar player because it's taking me out of my comfort zone. And, it's the 10s on here are kind of cool. So let's go back and have a quick look at some comments. And I'm going to try to play something in context. I'm going to do a little bit of an overdub jam. I'm going to play a real song, and then we'll probably wrap up there. I think we're kind of giving it some good tones. Alan Speaks says beautiful mellow tones or sounds. MB says if you're a big passive pickup fan, EMG have some sets voice more like passive pickups like the 5766 set. Excuse me. But I think they also just came out with even more passive like pickups. Okay, cool. And I did know that they did scale some back a little bit. And Insomniac Met says it's almost an AC/DC-esque sound in the setting. I agree with that. Chad Boston says, hot stuff, Mark Taylor. Wow, that just glistens. A great, clean sound. Dan Wilhite says, hey, what's up, Eric? Sounding good. Cool guitar. Do those knobs get in your way? No, they don't, Dan. That's you can go back and watch this after on. That's the first thing that Junior and I were concerned about. We're like, okay, those knobs look like they're going to get in the way. When you focus on them, you're going to hit them. You probably because you're like, okay, don't hit. But when you don't think about them, like watch this right now. I'll just play something. Didn't even come close to hitting them. Didn't even come close. So no, they're I don't even know that they're there. So that's very, very cool. MB says some passive pickups out on the market by now. I'm waiting for the new Kirk Hammett set to come out. Cool. Have to check those out when they do come out. Chad Boston says, now I want an Airline. It's a cool guitar. Richard Henry says, lots of definition with those pickups with gain. I know. And I'm not a single coil lover. Like I could give you guys this guitar and you'd play it, and I wouldn't, if you didn't know that they're single coil pickups, you'd probably think, oh, these humbuckers don't have a lot of gain. You'd think they're humbuckers though. You'd think they're a lower gain humbucker, and I swear that they're tricking us on the website, but they're single coil pickups. They do sound nice, and I can see this guitar being used for recording a lot because it's going to give some definition to that. You might think, what is that? When you're listening to it, it's going to have nice definition. Zach says, hey, Eric, awesome looking home studio and getting in great tone tonight. Thank you. I appreciate that immensely. I really appreciate that. I still want, I'm always changing. It's only been a year and a half since I've changed this look here. Well, actually, no, I've been changing it. There's many more ideas I want to do here. I'm thinking about black, like actually drywalling where the curtain is there, and I might actually paint that black and hang some guitars in there. I don't know. Poison Ivy's been one to really guide me. She's got a really good sense when it comes to interior design, and less is more when it comes to her. So I know if I even add one more thing, she's probably going to get mad at me for putting a microphone up there, right there. See that? Just because she likes everything to look good. And that's just an extra Rode I'm using up there right now. There it is right there. That's the one that used to be right here. So I'm using that for an additional mic. And actually, just as a little side note on that, I'm really enjoying this new mic. This is a Rode Procaster, and it's a dynamic microphone, meaning that if I go like this, you notice in my voice, it's almost completely gone. I get over here as I get in the path. That's almost like the equivalent to like a SM58, something like that. And, I can hear as much as you probably can't barely even hear me tapping on the desk, was with the NT1 that I used to use, and I'm using it for the cabinet back there. They're a condenser microphone, and they can pick up a lot of, you could even scratch your pants almost, and you would hear that through a condenser. So there's pluses and minuses to everything like that, but I'm really enjoying this one. And I think I've got the sweet spot where I like it for tone. Okay, so I'm going to highlight someone else here again, and then we're going to actually go over and try some overdubs. So thank you on that, Zach. And Tazmac says that would be great for double tracking and rhythm tracks. I think so. And what I'm going to try to do, just because I'm inspired right now with this thing, if Junior will let me borrow it one more time, I can always guilt him into letting me use it. I'll give him something else that he's waiting to get or something, and I'll see if we can get a few more hours out of this guitar, and I'll record something with a couple double tracks, and we'll record with the amplifier as well too, and then maybe try one with the Helix and see what we can do with that. So let's. I'm going to go back to a clean channel. I'm going to play a couple things, and I'm going to sample it with my Boss DD500. And I'll play over top. So I won't turn the microphone off for a second. Let's go to clean for a sec. And pardon me turning my back to you. And let's go to the other camera for a second too. Okay. All right. So pardon me. I don't mean to be rude by turning my back, but I just can't fit my pedal board under the desk. It's too large. Oh, yeah, you know something I didn't show you? I really wanted to show you this. I've got the blinking blue lights here of the Boss MD500. One of my favorite patches on the Boss MD500 pedal is one of the tremolos. Listen to this. Isn't that beautiful? As I get older, I'm starting to like tremolos a lot more. And there's nice choruses in there too. Okay, so let's turn that off. Okay, so I'll probably put this maybe in a second position. Here's the passage I'm going to try to play. so I got it fairly comfortable. Make sure I'm in tune. Close enough to get by. So I'm going to go into record mode now with the DD500 and see how that works. And I'm going to play a little lead over top and give you a conjecture of lead and clean tone with this guitar. So there you go. That was actually pretty cool, huh? It actually solos very, very nice. Let's go back to the camera for a quick second. And I'm going to show you now, before I play a song with a real backing track, or one of my songs, I'm going to put it back to the clean channel for a quick second, and I'm going to show you what it sounds like with the MXR 5150 overdrive on it. So let's try that. So we're back on clean. Let's try to get this microphone over here. And I'll keep my microphone on for a second while I do this. So now we're going to pop on the EVH 5150 overdrive. We'll stop there for copyright issues. So there you go. It actually takes distortion quite nice, doesn't it? Love it. Okay, so let's pause that for a second. What am I doing? I turned my microphone off. Pause, I said, and I turned off my microphone. Read a couple more comments here and get another sip of totally iced coffee, but it's better than nothing. I cannot wait to get in the kitchen and make another hot coffee. Okay, let's go back. Let me see here. Just got a text message. Chad donated again. Chad, you got to stop that. You're gonna, that's too kind of you, man. I'm gonna be drinking some Starbucks coffee now. I love it. Thank you, buddy. You're amazing. And he says, absolutely beautiful song. Thank you. That's just a progression I wrote. It's one of mine. I like it a lot. So Warren Hughes says, damn, sounds good. I've never played through any of the EVH amps. I will make sure and stop by their booth and check them out. Warren, I know you were talking the other day about some tube amps. One I think you would really, really like, it's affordable too, is the EVH lunchbox. One of the lunchboxes, but especially the second one where my thumb is pointing right now, has a beautiful clean, and you'd like that. It'll take a pedal, and it has a nice, insane, dirty channel. So if you're using a distortion pedal with it, like the 5150, you could technically have 3 channels, or just put a boost in it and you still have 3 channels. So Warren, you should check that one out. I think they retail around $6.99 US. pick up a 212 cabinet, easily throw in a trunk of any car. And as a lot of us guys are getting older, it's nicer sometimes to have something smaller to carry around. Let's mute these microphones back there for a minute. Not that the amp's giving much hiss back there, but we'll turn it off. Yeah, check them out, Warren. Let me see here. King Pingu says, what song is that? That's one of mine. That's one of my songs. I don't have a name for it yet, but it's cool. It's just kind of a pretty song, right? Warren says he loves that riff. Let me see here. Insomniac Matt says, one thing that I learned from Philip McKnight videos, apparently the first Floyd Rose was a Bigsby with a locking nut. Really? Okay, that's cool. I did not know that. MB says that Torero, or however you spell it, was my favorite guitarist PRS ever put out. Similar vibe to Gary Holt's signature ESP, Eclipse shaped, a Les Paul shape for anyone who doesn't know, and had a Schecter. I miss that guitar, but it was 24 fret, and I got rid of it. It's really funny. If you go on the Futone website, fu-tone.com, and you look at artists, I'm very, very proud to be a Futone artist, and the picture you see there, which is me with extremely long hair, playing that very said guitar, the PRS Torero. So go look it up. On the right-hand side of the artist, you'll see all the artists, and you have to scroll down. It'll be important artists, and then there'll be little people like me, and you go to other artists. Actually, there's some other cool artists that are in the other artists section too. And I'm in there, and you'll see the PRS Torero. And I think there's a couple pictures where my hair is actually caught in the strings. But I got rid of it because, number one, didn't have fret dots on it. They had fret dots on the side. And, hey, I like a road map where I'm going. I like to know where I'm going. And it's 24 fret. A 21 fret, like this guitar only has, 20 frets, I think? And a 21 fret guitar, and I'm lost, and a 24 fret guitar, and I'm lost. I like 22 frets. You can laugh and point if you want. It's just me. That's my comfort zone, and that's another reason why I got rid of the guitar. But it was a cool guitar and had a beautiful Floyd on it as well too, floating Floyd too. Where did I leave off there? So the people liking that riff, and Philip McKnight, Torero. Lovely filthy tone, Alan Speak says. That's nice. I can live with that. Lovely filthy tone. MB says V-shaped guitar that had the same color scheme. Gotcha. Joshua Kraft says great playing, Eric. Thank you. R23 Locknet says that sounded good, Eric. Thank you. Very cool from Dan Wilhite. Excuse me. Oh, a little bit of burps. I don't want to burp on microphone, but I'll try not to do that if I can help it. Let me see here. Play Again Me says, does Eric have a video that describes the differences in PV Wolfgang's specs and country of origin? I really don't have a video. I have lots of videos on the PV Wolfgang, and actually some pretty good ones, I think, but I don't really have one that goes into detail about the origin in the different countries. I'm very happy to do that, and I will work that into a video in the very near future. I'm always looking for great video ideas, so thank you for the suggestion on that, and I will. And I even used to work at a PV dealer, so I do know the background on the PVs very well as far as the countries of origin and whatnot. So be happy to do that for sure. And please post a link. Okay, so I don't have the link at the moment because that video doesn't exist. But if you go through my channel, at least you'll get some good demos of some of the PVs. I've got 3 PVs here at the moment, 2 Americans and 1... Actually, no, what am I talking about? How many do I have? All American. I have all Americans. But just type in PV Wolfgang on my channel if you go to the search, and you'll see various ones. I think you'll probably see me play. You'll see me play the hardtail, archtop, the archtop standard, whatever they want to call it. The PV used to call it the American standard or something like that. Wolfgang standard, not to be confused with the EVH standard, which is Indonesian. And then I've got a PV Wolfgang special, which is a flat top, but it's also American as well too. And I don't even know if that's my guitar anymore. Junior and I trade guitars back so many times. Actually, I think it's his guitar again, so I better say it's his because I'll hear about it if it's his. I'm saying it's mine. He's gonna have all these guitars one day, anyways. Everything you see in this room is on a ticker. When I'm gone, they're all his. Not that I plan on going anytime soon. Knock on wood. So thank you, Chad, for that super chat. And I'm seeing that again here. Very nice from Blackie DH. Such good feel and tone, says Alan Speak. I'm buying one of these for sure. Great to hear. Great to hear. Nice. Tell the Eastwood people that you saw it here. I'm sure they'd be very appreciative. Really dig the chordal overtones that guitar produces. Definitely a winner. That's from Tazmax. Great tones and playing, Eric from Dan Wilhite. Bobby Lopez jumping in. Awesome. Burlefs is very nice. Mark Taylor sounds great. FNAF Gamers is here saying, hey, what's up? All right. So I think we are actually down to the very bottom, and everyone's saying thank you and good stuff like that. And Dan Wilhite says, hey, Eric, I know the Lunchbox 2 sounds great, but is it loud enough to hang with a rock drummer? Yes. it is for sure. Now, I've had this conversation a few times with different guests and different chats. And if you're in a one guitar player band with a bass player, I think you'll cut through no problem with that lunchbox too. Once you start getting a second guitar player, he or she's got probably a Mesa or a Marshall or something like that. Once you add a second guitar to the mix, you might be fighting with the lunchbox. In a one guitar player band, you can rock with the drummer, no problem. And then, the thing is these days too, most clubs are getting lower and lower and lower in volume. So you're going to be low on stage anyways. And your sound guy or girl, your sound technician is going to be miking you. And the less, on stage volume you can get, the better anyway. So it'll work perfectly. As long as you can be heard over the drummer, then that's all you need. But yes, the long story short, yes, that will work fine in a one guitar player band. And if you're selective and careful on a two guitar player band, you could get away with it as well too. All right, so I'm going to go over here now to my laptop. I'm going to call up a song. It's on, and you guys were kind of liking that melodic stuff, so I'm going to play another nice, slow, clean one. Let's get rid of the distortion. Okay. So, and I also want to clear my DD500. It's still got, if I was to hit play with my foot, you'd hear this again. One sec. Cab left is on, cab right is on. So it saved it, but it won't be, once I shut off my pedal board, it's gone. So I'm just going to hold the button down and clear that patch. Okay, it's cleared. And the reason why I want to do that, I've got my DD500 set up where I can play two patches at the same time. So here's my delay I have on there right now. Okay, that's around 350 milliseconds, and I've got a longer one. A little slower, and I like to use that, and I can actually use both of them at the same time. Watch this. Kind of sounds cool, right? But in the song I'm going to play you, it's one of my kind of pretty songs called Pass You By. Okay, that sounds nice. I'm looking forward to playing this song for you here. All right, so let's go to it right now. Let's just see what kind of level I've got. I'm going to do a little practice first. Turn on the laptop, and at least I know it's going to work this time. This is just a practice. Okay, so I'm happy with that. And the reason why I chose this song, number one, it's not a shred fest, and it's nice and easy to play. And it's going to really show what this guitar can do, because I'm going from clean to dirty to a nice long lead. And I just think this guitar is the right one for this song. And boy, oh boy, if we would have had this guitar when I would have recorded this song, I think I could have been even tastier in the solo. And speaking of the solo, I absolutely love this one part. I get very emotional when I play it. Very kindergarten simple. There's a walk up in the solo. Let's go over to the other camera for a minute. Okay, and I'm going to be playing clean here for a second. But my guitar solo on this song is very, very simple. Let me see. Like that. It does something like this. And here's a part that I just love. It's really, really pretty. So as we get to that, you'll end up with distortion, and probably a different pickup. It's going to sound quite nice. So I'm going to shut up. I'm going to mute this microphone, and we're going to play this with my track. This was from. I have two versions of this song, and one version was on my 5210 album. This version was recorded slightly before, and this was actually featured in a soundtrack to a movie called A Case of Deceit. It was very, very cool. We got to go to the premiere in Toronto in the big screen movie theater. The whole band went down there, and we got to see the song on the big screen, seeing here, and it was very, very out of surreal experience. And it was a very, very cool part in the movie too. Just a millisecond before the end credits come on, and it's playing through the whole end credits. So after you've seen the movie, the movie was kind of, it was okay. The movie was good. I'll say it was good. It wasn't a blockbuster movie, but hey, my song was in the movie. 2 songs, as a matter of fact. And it had a key part in the movie. It was very, very cool. And it's a pretty song. And you know what? Here's a good example. It's called Pass You By. My little humble advice and gift. Don't let your life pass you by. Enjoy every minute of every day. And if you're an old grandpa and you're sitting at home, enjoy your time, enjoy what you have. If you're a young kid, you got a whole life ahead of you, but don't let it pass you by, because in the blink of an eye, it could be gone. right? And so now that you know that, I think you'll enjoy this song. So let's try it. No, I have to honestly say, let's change cameras for a second. That was the most fun I've ever had playing that song. It was very emotional. It sounds beautiful on this guitar. Yeah, it sounds nice. I'm going to have to get one of these guitars. And I'll have to get it in a different color so I don't bother the boy. I love it. I'm going to play one more song for you in a second. We're going to rock it, and we're going to say goodbye after I rock that one. Let's go back and have a look at the chat. So that was Dan Wilhite talking about the lunchbox. Stan says, the thing that sounds even better through an amp for sure. If I had it here, I would check the ohm readings on the pickups. I wonder about that. They would fit in a hum slot of a humbucker guitar. Yeah, I think so. I can't see why not. They look exactly the same. So thanks, Stan, on that. Chad Boston says, damn, that thing rocks. Blackie DH says, killer. Poison Ivy's giving me the big horns for sure. Bobby Clipper says, that guitar is a game changer. Sweet. I'm really liking these comments. Thank you. I mean, I'm not doing anything crazy with the guitar. I'm just, normal stuff. Imagine what a crazy guitar player could do with this thing. Holy smokes, this is so good, Chad says. Beautiful song, Eric. That's from Zach. Thank you, Zach. The emotions showed through. Thank you, Chad. Yeah, it's a pretty song. Warren Hughes, awesome, and I could feel the emotion. Thank you. That climb to me is my favorite part. And I messed it up too, which is so sad. I like it. And man, it gives some nice... I love it. Okay, so should we dare try this? Okay, you know what? I'm going to do two things, okay? And okay, so don't flame me if I do a bad job on this. I'm going to do two more songs for you. And I wish I had my Helix for this because I have a really good Van Halen patch that sounds just like the vintage Van Halen. But okay, so when I used the Helix the other day, I said, will this guitar Van Halen? And I kind of proved in the video I could Van Halen with it. So I'm going to do two songs here. I'm going to play with the backing track of Van Halen. And I'm going to struggle on the solo because the action on this guitar is twice as high as I normally would like it. I'm playing with 10s. Legal disclaimer aside, that means if I really screw up, I can blame it on my things I just said there. So let's cue up a backing track. One sec. And then I'm going to rock out as my last song. That's very heavy. A lot of you people know it. Loaded Gun. It's the one that does you. And this guitar is not made for something like that. And if I can rock out with that thing, it should be cool. All right, bear with me. Got to go to my Google Drive for this. I'm looking for my backing tracks. Let me see here. Guitar, general stuff. Is that it? Nope. Audio tracks. Nope. Hang on. Bear with me here. I got to remember where I put this. I think I called it backing tracks. Geez, where is it? Talk amongst yourselves. Jam tracks. Okay, I think this is it. Let's just cue this one up and see. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to tune down. So how about this? I'm going to do this in this order because I would like to try this. Since I'm tuned up to concert pitch, I'm going to play one of my songs first, okay, the heavy one, then we'll come back to Van Halen, and we will call this a day. How does that sound? So let's minimize this, and let's go over here to band songs again. And we're going to go to Case of Deceit and Loaded Gun. All right, so let's see what we got for level here. Okay, we're going to try this, all right? Okay, that's going to work. want to know why I was laughing so hard? I'm 2 frets. I'm 2 frets short. I actually went up, and if you saw me, I was fretting the note on the pickup. I'm trying to get that super, super high note, and I couldn't get it. I'm 2 frets short. And on 10s, if I would have bent anymore, I would have taken my nail off. So I cheated, and I tried to hit the note on the pickup. It is what it is. I don't care. That was fun. All right, I'm gonna wrap up by reading a couple of comments. And actually, you know what I'll do here? Let's tune down real quick. I'll use my ear. Okay, we'll do this by ear. I could use a tuner, but we'll wrap up with some Van Halen. I know this is probably annoying. Let's see if we're close. I'll check it with the tuner before we go live with Van Halen. Let me see here. What did I miss? The Game Changer. Bobby says the Game Changer. Thank you. Okay, so we're talking about the emotion. Somniac Matt says, when you tell your friends about this, they're probably going to react something like, wait, you played metal on Wet? Exactly. But will it Van Halen? I know, let's go back to the camera so you're not looking at the top of my head here 1 second. Well, I did a short little video for this, and I put it on Instagram, and Eastwood Guitars liked it, so that was kind of cool. The fact that, it's not what you'd particularly expect to hear out of this guitar, and it can do it. Bud Rivera is here. Hey, Bud, how you doing, man? He says, excellent attack, incredible talent, Eric. Hello from the home of the world's first rodeo at Pecos. Is it Pecos, Texas? Am I reading that correct? Pecos, Texas. Hello, man. I have you on Facebook. You're a good dude, man. Thank you. Lick Max is here saying awesome. Some nice applause from my beautiful better half Poison Ivy. Blackie DH sounded great. Dylan Wilhite, you rocked it, Eric. Thank you. And FAF Gamer says, took apart my Dean until I get new strings. Okay, do a little bit of an overhaul on it. Let me just, very not rudely, I'm going to just turn away from you for a second. I'm going to make sure I'm tuned to E-flat perfectly here. We'll do a Van Halen, and we will call it a day. And I'm almost a little worried now after messing up my own guitar solo, but I'm going to do the Van Halen. But it'll go to show you that we can Van Halen on this guitar. So let's have a quick look. Just going to tune. That was pretty close. Okay, so I'm in tune. I'm going to see if we can call up Running with the Devil again. And Eddie was always known for never being exactly correctly in tune. Well, I mean, he's in tune, but not to a tuner. So let's just make sure I'm in tune with that. Way out of tune. See, I'm tuned to the tuner, and it's not perfectly in tune. Okay, I'm almost there. All right, we're going to go with this. I have a feeling it's not going to go well, but you know what? I don't care. We're just going to have some fun. That's what it's all about, right? Here we go. We did it. We pulled it off. We pulled it off. That bend that is hard. I'm not used to it on 10s. Let's get rid of that camera. All right, so I'm going to mute all these mics. And that's all the playing I'm going to do. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. My fingers are a little sore. Look at those fingers. Look at, oh, poor babies. Let's just go with the comments, and I'm going to wrap it up that. But I think we answered the question. Nick and Van Halen, if someone was better than me playing the Van Halen, but where'd we leave off? Okay, so Blackie DH was saying it was that one of my songs. If you were referring to the one called Pass You By, yes, for sure. And I have that available too for people that join my Patreon. I have it on my Patreon page, patreon.com/EVHGearTV. And at a certain tier, you can have all my music for free as well too. I'm happy to get that to you. You'll see some information at the outro credits here about my Patreon. Excellent attack, incredible talent, Eric. Hello from the home. Oh yeah, that was Bud. So thank you, Bud. I appreciate that. Blackie DH, it sounded good. Rocked it, Eric Daniel Height. I think I'm repeating myself. I do that often. Yeah, because then we're talking about the Dean guitar that FNF Gamers is taking apart. Let me see. Zach Song says, that was awesome. Eric, have a great week. Warren Hughes says, yes, my favorite song in the whole wide world. Nice. Mine is Unchained, but I do like that one a lot too. Your tuner was on XD. There you go. Denan says, tune off that record, low E tune to itself. Yeah. Quentin James says he's still laughing. Hey, Quentin, good to see you. And Quentin, you have to share this video. Let me see here. Bud Rivera says, awesomeness. FNAF Gamers, I was playing with you on my Epiphone SG. Nice. Very cool. MacTech, that is my brother. This is, I think, one of the first times he's been in my live stream. That's my brother, Larry. Very nice to have you, man. Thank you for joining my live stream. Awesome. I'm thrilled. I'm honored. I hope that sounded okay. Very, very nice. I'm kind of speechless for a second. That's very cool to have my brother watching. Sweet. And actually, you know what? Since he's here, Larry, do you remember this? Let's go to a clean channel for a quick second. I have to give credit where credit is due because my brother taught me my first song on guitar. And do you remember what that was, Larry? Let's go to a clean channel. I was wondering why I was only hearing one mic. I got one of my channels muted here, so now we should be in stereo. Nope. No. How's that going now? How's the rising sun? I totally forget it. So A, C, there you go, D to F. Okay, now I'm out of tune a little bit. Let's fix that. Can you believe I threw the guitar to tune, torturing it with some Van Halen? Let's get rid of the phaser too. Whoa, listen to that. I actually hit my... I did that by accident. I hit the synth patch on the Boss MD500. That's kind of cool. I did not mean to do that. So anyways, that's the very first song I ever learned, and my brother Larry taught me that. So there you go. I love it. And I had to struggle with it, but that's cool. Very, very cool. And that's not the Five Finger Death Punch. That's the original. Let me see here. And yeah, Jerome says, I got blisters on my fingers. And these are good blisters today. Now when you play nines, you feel crazy easy to play. That's what Dan Wilhite's saying. And Poison Ivy saying, hey, Larry. And Insomniac Matt says, House of the Rising Sun for sure. Marry a Poor Boy. Yeah. Neil Young as well. Yep, that's right. Yep. And I... Van Halen covered some Rockin' the Free World, obviously with the Sammy era. Probably do a live stream in a little bit. FNF Gamers. Okay, cool. And the Animals, yeah. So very, very cool. So Larry, I know you're just tuning in late. This is guitar that Junior got for Christmas, and he's playing a lot. He's doing really, really well. So I had a really fun live stream with you guys and girls. I really, really appreciate this. And unfortunately for the people that are just jumping in, like my brother as well too, you have to go back and watch some of the parts that you missed earlier. But this was a lot of fun. I had a great time with you all. Great way to end a Sunday. And I'm back again every week now. Obviously, we had the first episode for 2018 with Jason Becker. If you didn't get a chance to watch that with Jason Becker and his very good friend, lifelong friend, Dave Lopez, check that out. Jason was kind enough to give me some world and AVH Gear TV fans world exclusives 2 tracks off of his upcoming new album, which is people around the world are waiting for this like crazy. Plus, he played for us some tracks, a track that was never heard before, one of his alternate takes on a David Lee Roth performance. So that was very, very cool. Next Friday, this coming Friday, I have Sean Clark coming on. Sean is a musician. He's probably more known for his business that he owns called Convention All Stars. We'll be talking a little bit about music. He actually auditioned for Spinal Tap as a drummer. That's just kind of a cool thing on that. It's very, very cool. But a lot of you people that are into sci-fi stuff, like we always talk about The Walking Dead and things like that on the show here. He's Norman Reedus' best friend. He's he books Norman and all those guys. Norman, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who plays Negan on The Walking Dead. Sean's responsible for probably about, I'd say, a good 10 of the Walking Dead characters that we all love on the show. He's best friends with all of them. He books them through his Convention All Stars. He does a lot of the horror conventions as well, stuff like that too. He's a writer, like a movie screenwriter, I should say. Just really all around really, really cool dude. We're going to probably talk a little bit of music, talk a little bit how Van Halen has influenced the world of musicians, manufacturers, and things like that. Then we're going to be kind of geeking out on some sci-fi stuff. And I know a lot of my fan base here on the show are fans of sci-fi, and horror and that kind of stuff. So it's going to be more of just a geek out session on Friday. It'll be fun. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. He's a cool dude. Looking forward to that. And then it's just continual blitz of musicians coming on the show. We're going to have a lot of fun. Warren Hughes is here in the chat. He's going to be coming on soon. Cannot wait for that. He's a good dude. Craig Rendels is going to be back as well, too. I've got Michelangelo Batillo coming on. There's a bunch more. Cameron Brown from over across the pond. He's coming on. He's a great Van Halen player. He's going to be coming on as well. It's a great list. It's a great list of people. Looking forward to it greatly. So everyone have a fantastic week. Go kick Monday's butt tomorrow. Have a great week. And I'll do a couple jams, I'm sure, throughout the week. I can't stay off the air, so I'll probably be doing something towards Wednesday or something of the sort. I am going to make a nice hot coffee. I'm going to give the boy his guitar back. We're probably going to go play some video games for a little bit and have a nice evening. So stick around for some of the outro information here. If anyone's interested in my Patreon at all, there's tiers from everything from, I think, $1 all the way up. Different things. It's just different ways to support the show. And I love you regardless of your patronage or whatever. Chad Boston, thank you very much for a couple super chats today. It was very, very kind of you. And that's going to be put towards some more coffee. I'm enjoying my coffee. So stick around here as we say goodbye to everyone. Thank you so much, and I'll see you real soon. This was a pleasure. Had a lot of fun. Cheers. I'm on Patreon. If you enjoy my content and wish to support my channel and what I do, then please check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/EVHGearTV. Your support assures the continued growth of this channel and a fun community